What is going on, everybody, man? My name is LFR Jojo, and today we're going to be checking out a ghetto Democrat losing it against a woman named Nancy Mace. I don't really know who Nancy Mace is, and I don't know who this ghetto Democrat is. I've heard a few remnants of her name being Jasmine. I don't know her last name. I'm not really super deep into politics, but I do hope this is a good one. I'm extremely excited to watch this. I heard they was about to fight at this congressional here, so I'm not gonna waste no more time. Let's get right into it.
Is this 5? Mm-hmm. Any further members seek recognition?
Mr. Chair,
Chair, recognize Ms. Crockett.
I have an amendment at the desk.
So there's 5. Will the clerk? Everyone has the amendment. Everyone has the Crockett amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please report the amendment?
An amendment to the rules of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform for the 119th Congress is offered by Ms. Crockett of Texas.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. I reserve a point of order. The gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes to explain her amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. During the 118th Congress, Oversight Republicans disbanded one of the most important subcommittees in Congress, the Subcommittee on Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. And now in the 119th Congress, the chairman and House Republicans have decided to prioritize the demands of the real president, Elon Musk, and his billionaire friends over the needs of the American people. Now, we are about to approach the birthday of Martin Luther King. It's actually tomorrow. And on January 20th will be the inauguration of Donald Trump, but it will also be the observation of MLK Day. And the fact that we have decided that in this country, we are not going to honor civil rights should be something that we all take issue with. Considering the fact, for some that don't know what civil rights are about, because some people only believe that it deals with Black folk, let me.
Okay, already. And yeah, this is my first time ever hearing her speak. I don't know who this woman is. I have no affiliation with her or Nancy Mace at all. This is a pure, objective, and raw opinion. I'll say this. I can already tell off rip, she's a little more on the informal side, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be informal, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to judge you. I would say though that will rub people the wrong way during something like a congressional meeting. So I really hope she's not the cause of this so-called fight or so-called argument that's going to happen. But who knows? Let's continue.
Explain. Civil and political rights are a class of rights that protect individuals' freedom from the infringement by governments, social organizations, and private individuals. They ensure one's entitlement to participate in the civil and political life of society and the state. Defined another way, the right to be free from discrimination, the freedom to worship as we choose, the right to vote for our elected representatives, the protections of due process, the right to privacy. If any of that sounds familiar, it is because these are rights that are born out of our Constitution, something that we all supposedly have sworn an oath to, and we swear to not only, we don't just swear to it, we are supposed to protect those rights. Interestingly enough, we just had the funeral of one of our beloved presidents, and I caught a flight to Austin on the day of the funeral. And I had the honor of sitting next to someone who was a little familiar with the White House. That person was Lucy Baines Johnson. And when I tell you that she is a wealth of information, I really mean that. And when we had an opportunity to talk about what she experienced as her father was president during a time in which, honestly, our country was on fire, and I would argue that unfortunately, our country is on fire right now. When I first ran for office, I ran for the state house and said that we were in the midst of a modern day civil rights movement, and I have not been.
A modern day civil rights movement. Y'all, I want to know when she ran for office, because when she said when she ran, it was a modern civil rights movement. So I'm going to look that up. When did Jasmine Crockett gain office? Jasmine Crockett, she assumed office January 3rd, 2023. So January 3rd, 2023, according to Jasmine Crockett, and maybe I'm just going to assume she's referring to the United States. There was a mini civil rights movement on January 3rd, 2023. I don't understand where she's coming from. I don't understand where she's coming from. I'm not going to lie. Maybe she's referring to Texas because she's a member of the U.S. House representing Texas. I don't get what she's talking about. I don't know what a mini civil rights movement is referring to. But let's continue.
Been convinced otherwise just yet. But this is the daughter of the president that signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. She was also there when he signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And to be perfectly honest, without that voting rights, I don't believe that I actually would have a seat in Congress. And so I do believe in preserving the fact that everyone should be entitled to real and true representation, because I do have a Section 2 seat as our Voting Rights Act has been decimated. But one of the stories that she told me was that her father asked her about coming over to the Congress for the signing of the bill as it relates to the Voting Rights Act. Now, for her, it was a bit inconvenient as an 18-year-old to have to leave the White House and go over to Congress. And she asked her father, why should we go over to the Congress, Daddy, to sign this particular bill? And she said, we need to go over to the Congress because we need to pay due respect to those members of Congress that knew that voting for this bill meant that they would not be returning to Congress, but they had the courage to do what was right for this country and make sure that everyone's voices were going to be heard. The one thing that we could do, the very small thing that we could do, is have a little bit of courage and decide that we are going to reinstitute this particular subcommittee, because unfortunately, I don't see the type of courage that the people that served back in the 60s had coming out of some of our colleagues. And so I'm asking you to do the courageous thing today and just institute a subcommittee that would make sure that we are looking out for those protections of everyone in this country, to make sure that we have real freedom, something that we all supposedly espouse to believe in. And with that, I will yield.
Mr. Chairman.
Ladies, time's expired. Any member seek recognition?
Yes.
Mr. Higgins? Oh, Ms. Mace was first. I'm sorry. Ms. Mace.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Uh-oh.
Again, I don't know what's going on today. I find it.
I don't know what's going on either. I really don't know what's going on either. And y'all, I don't know who this woman is. I have no clue. And I was just watching this just to see what people were talking about, try to follow, Jasmine Crockett. But even after watching this, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know what she was just referring to. She was talking about a big movement of where she assumed office and how I'm assuming how crazy things are where she resides from. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know if you guys know in the comments, if you can follow what she's putting down.
It extremely rich and offensive. So we're talking about civil rights. I'm the former ranking member on the Civil Rights Subcommittee, something I believe in civil rights and civil liberties of all Americans. And we were talking about infringement of individual people. Also, quote, the right to privacy of individuals. Coming from a party that can't define what a woman is and won't give women the right to privacy. You all want men with penises, chicks with dicks, in the bathroom with us. You want women to be forced to undress in front of men in the locker room and in dressing rooms. And it's so hypocritical for you to sit here and say and be, screaming from the rooftops about right to privacy and civil rights when you don't respect women. And you don't respect women who've been raped, women who are victims of sexual abuse. And you want me, a victim of rape, a survivor of rape, to go into a...
She's going off. She's going off right now. And yeah, I am going live. I'm going live. I'm gonna start going live more. I had to fix my Wi-Fi settings and all that stuff. But she is going off, and I love. Sometimes y'all don't have to talk in word salads and do all this weird parables about what you think. That's kind of what Jasmine Crockett was doing. And I listened to her. I didn't pause the video much. I listened to her straight, and I didn't even understand where she was coming from. She started talking about the civil rights and how some people don't believe that all people should be discussing civil rights. And then she referred to how she transitioned into office and during a mini civil rights era. I don't know. Maybe it's a Texas thing that she was referring to, but Nancy Mace, this lady, she's not pulling no punches. She's going hard. And let's continue to watch.
Locker room and be forced to undress in front of a man. You have to be effing kidding me. So I don't want to hear about you talk about rights, individual rights, civil rights, because you can't find the courage from the 60s to fight for women all around America, fight for women like me, every single woman. And as a rape survivor, I shouldn't have to explain to you why women have rights and why women, when we're in the bathroom, when we're in the locker room, when we're in a dressing room, why I don't feel safe when there is a man nearby.
That should be common sense. Why are they trying to put... Y'all, is this real life? Is this like a parody or something? Is this a joke? Are they genuinely trying to put men in women's locker rooms? I don't even understand how this is a big discussion, because there are 2 locker rooms for this specific reason, so you don't have to commingle the genders. And if someone really has a problem with this, just write a new law that mandates another locker room, a third non-binary locker room, if you're so serious about this. But if women are saying they're uncomfortable with men in their locker rooms, if anybody says that they're uncomfortable with the other gender in their locker rooms, how is that a controversial topic? If you really want them to be in these locker rooms, just build another locker room. Make a private, all-exclusive locker room that only one person at a time can enter. Do whatever you want. But trying to commingle different sexes in the same locker room, it's just kind of weird. It's extremely weird to me. I don't understand it.
And the fact that we're going here and we're going to say all these things is the ripeness.
Thank you for the super chat
of
on
hypocrisy on the Hill. People need to tell the truth. And if we're going to talk about the rights of individuals, we have to talk about it. Everybody has rights, including women. And at some point, men are infringing on the rights of women. We just had it today. We just had a vote.
Thank you,
about
Bri-chan.
protecting women and girls in sports. And I believe it wasn't one, it was 2 people from the Democrat Party who voted to protect women's rights in sports today. 2. Yeah. So this is, Mr. Chairman, this is a deeply offensive conversation to me today. We want to talk about real freedom. Women have freedom in this country. Women have the freedom to go to a private women's only space.
So what I'm getting so far, and I don't want to speak too long, but y'all, this is my first time ever hearing Nancy Mace. I'm learning her story as the video progresses, and I'm also learning about Jasmine Crockett as well. So what I understand so far is that Nancy Mace was a victim of sexual assault. That's what I'm getting from this, and she's deeply offended that someone would suggest having... Jasmine Crockett didn't really specify the gender of the person she wants in a woman's bathroom, but having a different gender in the woman's bathroom. Nancy Mace has a real problem with this because she was an actual victim of sexual assault. She's saying that women in this country have freedom, and the fact that you're trying to forcibly put men, I guess, in the women's locker room is weird and disgusting. That's what Nancy Mace is saying. And she's saying this because she actually experienced sexual assault, and she knows putting these 2 people in the same environment in an enclosed area where you're changing clothes can lead to more cases of sexual assault. She makes a lot of sense, and she lived it. So I really want to understand how Jasmine Crockett will respond to this. I'm not going to talk too much because this is pretty good.
And not see a man in it. Women have the right to change and not be feared that somebody with their sexual perversion, someone who's confused about their gender, we have the right to feel safe in these spaces. We have the right to know that we're not going to have trans people filming us in the bathroom. How many of these trannies are taking selfies? These men are taking selfies in women's spaces, in the bathroom. It's gross. It's disgusting. So if we're going to talk about civil rights, let's talk about the rights of women in this country and how you are stripping them away.
Oh my God.
Every single day. And you're doing it in your legislation, you're doing it in your messaging, you're doing it on X. You're making women feel unsafe in this country. And you're making the opportunity for women and girls to be raped, to be sexually abused in this country, even greater than they've ever been. So don't come over here with your attitude and talk to me about rights when you're trying to take my rights as a woman, a rape survivor, away. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
She just snapped, man. She just snapped. She snapped. She did not pull any punches when it came to this debate at all. She did not pull any punches. And I really appreciate her perspective, because one thing Nancy Mace did in this video, and y'all, I don't know Nancy Mace, but one thing she did in this video, she first broke down her stance. She said, this is wrong. This is weird. Then she broke down why she believes it, because she was an actual victim of these crimes. Jasmine Crockett, to me, no offense to her, she didn't really explain anything very well. And I'm not trying to attack her or nothing, but I don't really get where she was coming from with this. I don't get what she wanted us to understand. And it's kind of sad, because people always question like why I do the conservative reactions, why I watch the right-leaning videos. And y'all, I just did a neutral video just now, trying to, just see what happened. And Jasmine Crockett just said a whole lot of nothing. Someone said, my take is men should be able to go in the women's locker room if and only if they snippet the. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, that was a pretty good video. I like that. My take is, what do y'all think about this? And whose side are y'all on? Because I really do want to, dive deep into this topic without it being taken crazy. So apparently they did fight, or they did threaten to fight. So I guess we'll play that. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, the motion debate is already passed. I apologize. So the now we're on the vote to the clerk's calling the vote.
Right.
So,
The recorded vote.
Recorded vote.
Thank you.
On Mr. Donald's motion to limit debate 15 minutes. All right.
Is while this amendment has to do with civil rights, for whatever reason, the colleague on the other side of the aisle decided to attack Democrats and pretend as if we do not look out for women. And I want to be clear that it's Democrats that were pushing for the Equal Rights Amendment. And I don't recall any Republicans supporting us having the Equal Rights Amendment. I also want to make it clear that just because someone fantasizes or wants to be dramatic about the idea of someone could be a quote unquote man in a locker room or in a bathroom, I've yet to hear an actual testimony of someone who, for whatever reason, has experienced this in real time. But I can tell you some real numbers and some real facts, because I don't like to live in fantasy when I'm talking about how I'm going to govern for the American people. The facts are, in my state alone, in the state of Texas, once they decided that they were going to overturn the Roe decision, 26,000 women then ended up raped. 26,000 is what we had reported. And that was only within about a year's time span. And when they reported those rapes, none of them seemed to have anything to do with trans folk. And I don't recall any legislation to help out those women in Texas and beyond that are actually dying. We're not.
Okay. I just want to say this. I understand where Jasmine Crockett is going with this conversation. I really do. I think the problem is her approach. I think she forgot, or I'm not going to say she forgot, but I think you're talking to a woman who got sexually assaulted. You're responding to a woman who literally experienced real life sexual assault. However, the message behind what you're saying is that Republicans do not understand this, and they don't know anyone who's experienced this. You're trying to basically imply that their reasoning behind not wanting, I guess, transgender people in this case in women's bathroom is a fallacy and is false and it's not based on anything. The reason I think that's a bad approach is because if you're talking to someone who literally experienced sexual assault, I can't think of a better person who would understand the implications of having men or transgender people in a women's bathroom. I can't think of anyone else who would better understand you. So this approach you're taking, and I know she probably didn't mean it, but it could come off as very disrespectful. But what do I know? Let's continue.
Projecting may die, but are actually dying or have died in southern states that have decided that they wanted to go after our reproductive freedom. So as a woman in this country, as a Texan, and as a Black woman who, when we look at the numbers, and I believe in data and science, and I know that that escapes a lot of people in this chamber, but the numbers are clear that specifically Black women have always struggled when it came down to the maternal mortality rates in general. The fact that somebody who looks like me, no matter how much money they have, because I can remind you of a very wealthy tennis star that almost lost her life while trying to give birth. Some things I honestly just don't think should be partisan. And frankly, I do believe in privacy because honestly, I don't want none of y'all making decisions if I ever end up pregnant and have to decide what it takes for me to save my life. And I give the same opportunity for other women in this country to make decisions as they see fit. So while we look at how we protect women completely differently, I can tell you that at least in the 766,000 women or 766,000 constituents that I represent, I've had them.
I'm not gonna lie, they call her a ghetto Democrat, and at first I was like, that's kind of racist. You can't call her a ghetto Democrat just because she's Black. But now that I'm hearing her talk, she is a little hood. I'm not even gonna lie, she's a little hood. She's a little hood. And the reason I say that is because, y'all, this is a congressional hearing. This is not just talking to your friends. She's just a little hood. I can't even deny it.
Come to me concerned about whether or not they could survive childbirth. But I have not had a single person in my district tell me that they were concerned that they may be raped by a trans person. So if there is an issue to solve in this country based on facts, data, and statistics, I think that we need to look at the type of healthcare that we are going to advance for women in this country. And with that, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields back. We're going to now go into the 15-minute cap.
Oh, I missed the fight again. I want to see the fight. Oh, whatever. People don't want to show it online anymore. They don't want us to see it. They don't want to show it. Oh, Jesus. What I'll say about this is, though, she is a little hood. Obviously she has a problem with how people are talking to her, so on and so forth. She's obviously left-leaning. Her policies that she supported were very left-leaning. She said that no one has any concerns about getting sexually assaulted in the bathrooms or whatever. I don't even understand where this debate is coming from. I'm an engineer, if you guys don't know. If you guys can't solve a simple bathroom problem, shouldn't the approach be just to create a new bathroom? Like, why are we having debates about a bathroom all the time? Like, I just feel like there are better approaches to take with this. There's not, you don't have to always have long like drawn out debates about a bathroom. Is it really that serious? It's not that serious. It really isn't. My whole thing is, if you have a problem with it, just create a new room. Literally, just create a new room. You don't have to freaking fight about it all the time.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, 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 so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to
I am
tell
no
me
child.
whether or
Do
not
not call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
will
am
in your life.
reclaiming my
Let's go.
time.
You will not do that.
Order.
I am not a
Chairman,
child.
I am
not a
reclaiming
child.
my time.
If you want to take it outside, we
Mr.
can
Chairman,
do
the
that.
committee
Mr.
is
Chairman.
not
Okay.
in order.
All right. Order.
Point of order. Point of order.
Order.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, 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 so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all
I
to
am
tell
no
me
child.
whether or
Do
not
not call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
will
Order,
am
in your life.
please.
reclaiming my
Let's go.
time.
You will not do that.
Order.
I am not a
Chairman,
child.
I am
not a
reclaiming
child.
my time.
If you want to take it outside, we
Mr.
can
Chairman,
do
the
that.
committee
Mr.
is
Chairman.
not.
She said catch her outside. So here's where she went wrong. The whole tone behind Jasmine Crockett's message was, how do I say this? It wasn't empathetic at all. And the problem with that is that you're talking to a victim of sexual assault. And if you are talking to a victim of sexual assault and your issue is along those premises, just show some respect. Just show some respect. I get it. You guys have different opinions. You guys have different ways you want to operate, politics, whatever. But just show some respect. Another thing where Jasmine Crockett went wrong is that she's using a lot of slang, just a lot of slang. She's not really the most proper. She's not being proper in how she's speaking. She's using child. Listen, y'all do that. Like I get it, and I'm not trying to judge her for how she talks. How you talk is how you talk. But when you're at a congressional hearing, it's just not. It's not the right thing to do. Maddie says she's being condescending. You're being extremely condescending. You're using a lot of slang. You're not really being super professional. And Nancy Mace did say, "Let's go outside." I don't think that's professional, but hey, she was tired of whatever you was talking about. She said, "Look, I'm tired of this. Let's go outside and handle this because you're being disrespectful." I respect it. She's disrespecting you. Take it outside. Hey, don't be condescending and don't use slang in these environments. And I get it. You're black. You should be able to use the black words, but come on. At the end of the day, there's a professional standard. As long as you follow the standard, these type of situations will never happen. If you have a conversation with somebody and you're being professional, you're being polite, you're being objective, and they threaten to fight you, it's their fault. But the reason people are attacking Jasmine Crockett in this situation is because they watched it. Jasmine, you did entice her. I'm not gonna lie. I sat here the whole time. You enticed the situation. You spoke first. Nancy spoke second. As soon as you began speaking, after Nancy the second time, you started basically attacking her and saying that you basically gaslit her. Said nobody feels as though sexual assault happens. You're talking to a sexual assault victim, by the way. You gaslit her, said nobody believes this. She's telling you she believes this. Then you basically called her you didn't call her a child, but that's your like slang. You said that to a woman who probably doesn't use those type of slang words. You shouldn't be using slang at work. And yeah, it escalated. But anyways, I'm gonna end the video here. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you want me to go live more. It's LFR Jojo, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.